Welcome back to Sims Complete. I'm Matt Sims. That's Phil Sims, and we're back, baby. Big guy, how was your New Year? Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that jazz. How was your New Year celebration? Did you stay up till midnight?
No, I did not. I did not see it. And
Okay.
You know what? I just don't care. It's a very overrated day for me. Even when I was growing up, going to a New Year's Eve party or whatever, I kind of hated it. Going, oh man, what is this? So I never liked it.
Wow.
So how about you? What'd you do?
Yeah, had a great time.
Yeah?
Was with the rest of our family at a little gathering, dancing with my young son, and on the dance floor. He loves dancing, my boy.
Well, of course. How can he
Yeah.
not? Between you and mama.
Yep. Yeah, we like cutting up the dance floor. We enjoy it. We had a good time. Stayed up a little bit past our bedtime, of course. But so we had two New Year's that day. It was very strange. So we had the first celebration with the family at this event that we went to in town.
Right.
And they do it early for the kids to kind of celebrate that feeling of New Year. Then we got the kids back home, go to bed, all that. And then me and the missus are on the couch and we're like, let's hang in there till midnight.
Yeah, that's the way I was.
Because like most parents, especially young parents, you're excited that you get your children down at a decent time after all those events, and then your body slowly starts to shut down with that. But we made it. I want to say that we stayed up probably about 5 or 6 minutes past midnight, and then we're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah,
It was a good night though. We had a good time with everybody and a lot of laughs and giggles, of course, with the little ones and all that stuff. Seeing it through their eyes is always a good time.
Yeah, it's a good time. A lot of people came over to the house here, the family and everything. So that was great. But everybody left way before it was time for midnight, which is even better. So, so I don't mean it that way, but it was good. It was all good. Holidays are over. I'm glad. I'm tired of the holidays, and we got college football, the playoff games. It was great. NFL football this coming weekend. Looking forward to that big time. Can't wait for Sunday night. Can't wait for Detroit, Minnesota.
That's your holiday. You don't care about the actual holidays. You care about the great matchups that we're going to see this weekend. But let's actually, though, before we even get to the NFL chat, because I know you watched the college games very closely. Sure. Probably these games, like many Americans too, who aren't huge college football fans. Not to say that you aren't, but just like many people, really the first time I think on a national scene that people sat down and really watched some of these teams from start to finish. But what were some of your takeaways? I mean, what was your favorite game, I guess, from the weekend? There was a few, obviously, that wasn't worth considering. I mean, Ohio State, Oregon was a bloodbath, but
yep.
Was Texas the one that had you on the edge of your seat? Did you enjoy last night's game with Notre Dame? Were you impressed with Boise State and kind of how they hung in there, which, really penalty or two goes a different way for them. They actually might have an opportunity there, but what was kind of some of your main headlines from this weekend's game or this week's games?
Yeah, I think the most exciting one was Texas, just watching them play.
Yeah.
Quinn Ewers, listen, if they lose the game, it was going to be nothing but his fault, no matter what, because that's what we're going to do. My God, it's the quarterback. And I really felt good for him. I was happy. No, not good. I was happy for him.
Right.
He threw a touchdown in an extremely, truly clutch moment. It wasn't like a layup, easy throw, but it was right in his wheelhouse. Had to drop it over somebody at the perfect, height on the ball. The miles per hour was perfect, everything. And then when I saw Steve Sarkisian at the end of the game just hugging him, he knew what that guy had just done for him. Man, yeah. I mean, it was so it was just surprised by Texas that they weren't a little more dominant. But when it counted, Quinn Ewers came through for him. And let's talk real quick about him.
Yeah.
How about this? He won't be Texas quarterback next year, no matter what. If he wants to be, I don't think they would let him.
Even with winning a national championship. He's like, in a weird way, now it's different for Sam Darnold and the Vikings, but both teams here going towards the end of the season, playing good football, potentially championship level football. And yet there's that open-endedness to both of their careers with the teams that they're currently playing for.
All right, I'll give you answer this question. Okay, You're Texas. You win the national championship. Do you keep Quinn Ewers on campus for one more year because he knows his draft stock is not as high as he wants it to be? And it's not. He's not going to be a first-round quarterback.
Yeah.
But he's trying to, wherever people have told him he is, he didn't like it, and he wants to probably play another year. I'm just assuming that. Okay, and Texas says, we'll keep you. Then Arch Manning says, it's been good. I'm leaving. I'm gone. And, look for the next guy. So there's just I don't see any way out of this, no matter what happens in it. If Quinn Ewers wins the national championship, that's going to be tremendous for him. In many ways, his life in Texas will help him, I think, somewhat in the NFL draft. But if he's not the guy, you got to move on. That's for sure. Let me ask you real quick. Okay, the 4 teams that won, Penn State, Drew Allard. I want to go over the quarterbacks real quick. Just give me your thoughts about him and what you see and where can he go to as far as once his college career is over.
Yeah, Drew Allard to me and Cade Klubnik are 2 quarterbacks that I think made the biggest leaps from last year to this year as far as their play and how they look at playing the position. And really, it's nothing like glaringly with statistics. I mean, Andy Kotelnick is the offensive coordinator there. He's done a good job of kind of opening up their offense more so than they had in the past. And they, to be honest, had won football games this year. Whereas in the past, by the style in which they play, they probably would have found ways to lose them.
Right, I agree.
His ability to just kind of call the game a little bit differently, a little bit more aggressively at times, to be creative at times. I still don't think it's as creative as it needs to be, but it's still in the direction that's it's better than what it has been. And I think Drew Allard has really taken advantage of that opportunity. It hasn't resulted in a ton of just like games where he's thrown for 300 yards and you could clearly tell that he's the best player on the field and all that, but he's getting better at, I think, playing a higher level at the position. He's making good decisions consistently. He moves really well in the pocket and has shown that he is a above average athlete. The scrambling thing to me really in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs has been kind of a game changer for them offensively because these defenses, SMU and Boise State, did a good job of covering them up on the outside and a lot of one-on-one opportunities. His scrambling ability has really bailed them out in a few crucial situations in these games and kept drives alive on long third down. So Drew Allard, I think, has more room to improve, of course. I don't think that he has peaked. No. And I think that's what's exciting. He's big. He's strong in the pocket. He's athletic. He has a strong arm. He definitely knows how to throw the contested back shoulder one-on-one type of throw really well because he does have that ability to drive the football down the field. And hopefully with just, I think, another year in this offense, he can really feel that much more confident and improve, and really make the improvements that we were hoping to see Carson Beck make this year. But I hope, Andy Kotelnick and what they have done so far this year is really just a good foundational step for Drew Allard in the offense.
That's all I can say. It's foundational. It needs to go to a whole nother level. When we talk about these 4 games we just saw, I got to tell you the truth. Hell, I was disappointed in every offense except one. I'll tell you in a second. But just not enough easy throws for the quarterbacks. We've had extra time. I don't see anything that really goes, wow, they really game planned this and it worked.
Exactly. That's the key word. No game plan specific plays. And that's the biggest difference for everyone at home between college and the pros. Even this weekend, Ben Johnson, Kevin O'Connell, there's going to be game plan specific stuff to get these quarterbacks off to a great start. And then it's not only in the first quarter, but it's going to be in the fourth quarter too. And you just don't see that as much in college. Actually, Sark did that, but for whatever reason, he wanted to hold a lot of his best plays till the end of the fourth quarter and even in overtime. So it was very, very strange that way.
Yeah, no, I expect so much more from Texas. The quarterback's got, the team, the talent, a professional coach there who's in the NFL, was at Alabama. I just expected to see more. But I'm going to go to this, to the offense. You're going to be very surprised. The offense, I thought, that really did a lot of little things that helped them win the game, and that's Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, man, they had some answers. It wasn't like, oh, here they go. It's going to be, they're going to run stick or whatever, routes or quarterback draw. I don't know. I just was impressed with how they managed the game, the play calls, and the head coach, just a terrific job. And I got to backtrack a little bit. Of course, to start the game, Ohio State's what they were doing. And you know what I want to say? Where has that been? I mean, gosh, did all these receivers, because they had a break, all of a sudden turn into something special? That bothered me a little bit. Yeah. Why didn't we see this all year long?
Yeah.
So, or more of it. I don't want to say all year. I know you have to build slowly into these offenses, but my God, all I heard is they got the best receiving core in college football, which is probably true. But man, I didn't see it very often watching their games on Saturday, but that was a good job for them, no doubt, playing against Oregon. They just manhandled Oregon in every single way, physically, speed, hitting, size. Man, Oregon had no answers to that team.
Yeah, well, all the first round teams that had a bye lost in this round, and that's pretty glaring. And something that I've been preaching to people that I work with at ESPN, where it's difficult for the pros to do it. It's difficult for grown men whose livelihood is just to play football. But it's got to be a whole another level of difficulty for these coaches to keep college football players engaged for 2.5, maybe 3 weeks when they haven't played that much. And that's, I think, a concern really just for the way that the system is built currently at the moment, because each team that had played a game the week prior did look ready to go from kickoff, whereas every other team, it took them about a quarter and a half or even till halftime really to kind of wake up. And I think that's a overall concern for just the product itself. To go back to what you said about Ohio State, I think you make a great point. Ohio State, I think earlier in the year, for the majority, except for maybe the Penn State game, really did everything they could to not lose games offensively. And I don't know if they were totally comfortable with just Will Howard. We know that we did all this stuff to get you here, but we're going to play it close to the vest. We're not going to just let it loose. And I think the Wolverine loss, the Michigan loss, really just freed them up finally to say, what the hell? Let's go. And I think we're finally seeing Chip Kelly's offense, not Chip Kelly running what Ryan Day's offense was to look like. Because that's what I saw. Early on in the year, it was Chip Kelly running what I think Ryan Day was running last year. These last 2 weeks, I've seen Chip Kelly's offense. Aggressive vertical passing, some screens behind the line of scrimmage, a great mixture of run and pass. And that's really, I think, what's tremendous. And the solidification of their offensive line has really been the biggest thing too, because they just had so many moving parts and injuries that it made it difficult really for them to have any sort of rapport with each other. The offensive line health playing a big part, I think, of their success these past 2 weeks.
Hey, look, Ohio State, when they took the field, I couldn't get over it when they played Tennessee. They looked bigger, faster, everything, just when they lined up before the game started.
Right.
And, I know Oregon beat them. I watched that game. I remember it being on during the year. And Oregon just made every play that you could think of to kind of stay in the game and win the game, of course.
Right.
But, man, same thing. After a few, of course, it's always easy to judge once the Ohio State comes out, touchdown, and you just go, God, they're faster. They're much bigger. And they just have more of those guys. They really they just have many more NFL guys on Ohio State. I mean, it's and you know what? I noticed it during the year, but the way they played the game really brought it to the forefront. And so good for them. And, sometimes there's nothing like a bunch of angry men. The players were angry. Ryan Day, him being angry, that's easy for him. Man, he can show it, how angry he gets in a lot of situations. But really good job by them coaching the team to go out and just get it done, and no inhibitions, worried about, we got to be careful. The careful thing goes out the window.
Yeah,
to be great. Yeah, to be great, you got to play to the edge. And that's what we saw early in those games. And it was, I got to tell you the truth, it was fun to watch, especially watching in the Rose Bowl with that setting and that field.
And both uniforms are just so perfect, too, for that setting and that situation. Yeah. I thought Oregon's uniforms were awesome. Their play didn't match how good they looked on the field. Ohio State, too. Chip Kelly, I love what he did for the run blocking schemes that they did. A lot of late motions by tight ends or receivers where they're essentially going across the formation and then end up being the lead blocker on outside linebackers, on nickel defenders, and capture the edge multiple times. That's the one thing that we always discuss in the NFL. You can't give up the edge. If you're a defensive end or an outside linebacker, you got to make every runner turn it back into all your guys in the interior part of that defensive line. And Ohio State did a phenomenal job repeatedly, play after play, ripping off big runs and just controlling the outside of the line of scrimmage with their motions right before a snap, which was phenomenal. And they got two phenomenal running backs, Travion Henderson, Quashawn Junkins. I mean, these guys are phenomenal runners. Penn State's got two great runners. Notre Dame's got three great runners because even the quarterback, right? And now, even with that, Texas, in theory, we didn't see it last week. We saw it against Clemson, or this last week. We saw it last week against Clemson. Ran the ball well. Quintravian Wisner did not look as healthy as he normally has been, and we didn't see any of Jaden Blue. So curious to see kind of how that unfolds for them offensively. Big picture, though, big guy. Big picture. Do you think Notre Dame is good enough to win the national championship with how they play?
Well, that's a good question. I'm going to just say maybe.
Can they beat Penn State?
Yes, they can.
They can. So they can get into the game, right?
Yes,
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I think they do have some size.
Right.
They're really well coached, and what they do kind of goes against the grain, I think, a little bit with the teams that are left in this, the four.
Right.
So that's one thing. The special teams, that's another one. I mean, it's not even about running plays. It's just about making you think certain things on the opposing side. And, you said it, running back, their pass game is so limited. I can't even say. It looks like it's about 5 or 6 pass plays, and they just work on the run game, the quarterback scramble, make some throws. But that's who they are, and they've been that way all year. And I think they played that game they played was fun to watch, and I just couldn't get over it. Georgia. I'm thinking SEC against Notre Dame, Georgia, all they got to. But Georgia lined up, and I'm not second guessing. When you early in the game, you go, they're no better physically than Notre Dame.
No.
That was the first thing that jumped out to me. Oh, my gosh, Notre Dame is blowing them up all over the place.
Yeah.
And I will say this, the quarterback for Georgia, give him a lot of credit. I thought he was tough. I thought he threw the ball much better than I expected. And at least I think he upheld his job as far as doing what you could expect from him. He did that for Georgia. It was the rest of the team in many ways, man. Just you don't see their team do what they did in that game. Just the mistakes, whatever. But Notre Dame deserved to win, and they got it done.
Yeah, you're right. And Gunnar Stockton, 20 of 32, 234, and a touchdown. You could see at times in that football game the lack of reps and just being in a pocket and feeling the rush and all that. It popped up. There was multiple times where he got stuck trying to read out the play and got caught kind of in the ground. And that was one, really the biggest play. Oben around the edge, a guy too that we know from the area and from this New Jersey area, a St. Peter's grad, got around the edge, had the strip sack, fumble recovery there. They scored the next play on the right lane, RPO throw over the middle. So that was a huge point in the game. And then to cap it off there to start the third quarter with the return for the touchdown was awesome. And that's the beauty of Marcus Freeman and what he's done for this team since the Northern Illinois loss. They are phenomenal in all three phases. They're really good in special teams. They try to block punts all the time. They're the best in the nation at blocking punts. It kind of went against them early on to start the football game with their two running into the kickers, but still, they were aggressive. They let the kicker know, hey, we're coming after you.
Yeah, that's right.
But special teams is a real thing. The defense by Al Golden, wow. I mean, he is awesome. He's such a good coach. Kaiser, Drake Bowen, Xavier Watts, Adon Schuler, the Irvington grad, phenomenal. He was the one that forced that fumble there on ETN when they were driving to go into, at worst case, get a field goal in that situation. So that was great. hopefully Howard Cross III isn't too banged up because he's a big piece in the middle of that line for Notre Dame. And they're already out with Mills, who's a phenomenal football player in the middle, but they did a good job of using multiple players to kind of fill that void in the interior. But Notre Dame, I think, can beat Texas. I think Ohio State is the matchup that's the most difficult one for them. I think they can beat Texas. I think their style of play matches very well with them. But yeah,
I would say this.
Mark it down, though, big guy. Marcus Freeman. I guarantee you that NFL teams, I'm going to say in the next 3 or 4 years, max, NFL teams are going to start considering him, as getting one of these job opportunities. I'm just telling you right now, by the way he carries himself and sees the game.
Yeah, it's great.
I think he manages the game very well.
I would say this to him. Don't even think about it. Stay right where you are, because where you are, you're at Notre Dame. You have a chance to out-recruit and get people because you are Notre Dame. It's one of the special schools in the country. So, he can do he's going to be.
Tell your agent to take the call. Say you're thinking about it, and then get Notre Dame to pay you more.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he's making a lot of damn money, but he's going to make a lot more in the future.
That's right.
And you could, and like I said, so a bad year for him at Notre Dame might be 9-3. Yeah. So in the NFL, got to have a quarterback. Oh my God, we know that. And he's a great game manager. He's got control of the team, all that. It's really awesome. It is. Yeah. So it's been fun.